Hi everyone! Did you know there's one day of the year when we trust a rodent to predict the weather? That's right, it's Groundhog Day, and the star of the show is none other than the groundhog, also known as the woodchuck. But before we dive into why this burrowing beast became the center of a bizarre weather tradition, let's get to know the groundhog a bit better. Spoiler alert, they're not meteorologists, but they do have some impressive skills. Groundhogs are members of the squirrel family, basically giant, chunky squirrels that prefer staying on the ground. They're native to North America, and you'll find them hanging out in fields, forests, and your backyard garden if you're unlucky. These furry little troublemakers can weigh up to 13 pounds and measure about 2 feet long, including their bushy tails. Fun fact: groundhogs are excellent diggers, creating burrows with multiple rooms and even a bathroom. Their burrows can be up to 30 feet long, complete with designated areas for sleeping and nesting. Yes, they're more civilized than some of us. Groundhogs are also known as whistle pigs because of their distinctive, high-pitched alarm call. If they spot a predator or just feel a little paranoid, they'll let out a sharp whistle to warn others. Despite their pudgy appearance, groundhogs can also run surprisingly fast and climb trees if they're in a pinch. They're nature's multitaskers, digging, climbing, sprinting, and occasionally raiding farmers' gardens for a snack. But what's their deal with weather prediction? For that, we need to rewind to ancient times. The tradition of Groundhog Day actually stems from a European celebration called Candlemas. Back then, folks believed that if the sun came out on Candlemas, winter would drag on. German settlers in Pennsylvania brought the tradition with them, originally using hedgehogs as the furry forecasters. However, since hedgehogs weren't found in the U.S., groundhogs were used instead. I mean, can you imagine trying to ship hedgehogs across the Atlantic? Sorry. Your shipment of spiky weather predictors got delayed. Now, let's talk about the star of Groundhog Day, Punxsutawney Phil. Phil is the groundhog with the impossible job of seeing or not seeing his shadow. Here's how it works. If Phil emerges from his burrow and sees his shadow, it means 6 more weeks of winter. If he doesn't, it means we get an early spring. Simple, right? Wrong. What? Unfortunately, groundhogs are actually terrible at weather forecasting. Phil's accuracy rate is about 39%, which is worse than flipping a coin. Yet every February 2nd, thousands of people flock to Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, to watch this furry forecaster in action. But let's not dwell on his inaccuracies. The real magic of Groundhog Day isn't about accurate weather predictions. It's about tradition, community, and having an excuse to celebrate something fun in the middle of a dreary winter. Plus, who wouldn't want to see a pudgy rodent lifted into the air like Simba in The Lion King? It's pure entertainment. Now, here's a fun twist. Groundhogs, despite being the stars of the show, spend most of Groundhog Day snoozing. They hibernate from October to early March, meaning Phil is probably dreaming about dandelions and clover while we cheer for him to do his thing. And the funny thing is that groundhogs don't even care about their shadows. What they do care about is surviving, digging burrows, and eating a ridiculous amount of plants. In fact, they can eat about 1 pound of vegetation a day. Talk about living the dream. They also have an unusual habit of gnawing on wood and even metal objects to keep their ever-growing teeth in check. In reality, Groundhog Day is more about humans having a quirky reason to break up the winter blues. But isn't it kind of beautiful that a chubby rodent brings us together, even if it is just to grumble about the weather? So when February 2nd rolls around, remember this. Whether Phil sees his shadow or not, spring will come when it's ready. Until then, enjoy the spectacle. reflect on the tradition, and give a nod to the groundhog, part weather mascot, part adorable garden menace. And who knows, maybe this year Phil will finally nail the forecast. But probably not. Thanks for watching.